Just off the Texas coast sits a unique beach town marked with salty vibes and sun-soaked memories. Port Aransas is a place where family traditions unfold naturally, and beauty lies both in island views and the unhurried moments between adventures. One visit, and you'll see why generations of Texans have anchored their traditions to the island life. Start your new favorite family tradition in Port Aransas, Texas. Go to visitportaransas.com and plan your visit to Austin's beach. Hey y'all, it's Nikki. It is summer, and for a lot of us, that means travel. Now, I don't know about you, but I still love a physical boarding pass. It's nostalgic. And even after the trip is done, I just can't seem to throw them away. Enter FrameBridge. They make it easy and affordable to custom frame just about anything. And yes, that includes my little paper boarding passes. So hold on to your personal piece of nostalgia with a FrameBridge frame. Visit framebridge.com or visit your local FrameBridge store in South Austin on South Lamar and in Central Austin on West 38th Street to start framing. Today on CityCast Austin, a special session is underway at the Texas Capitol, and lawmakers have a long list of things to tackle. Do y'all remember when it was just THC? Flood warning systems are now at the top of the list, followed closely by redistricting, which the Democrats may have a plan to fight. I'm getting into it all today with a Capitol reporter. It's Monday, July 28th. I'm Nikki Devon, and this is what Austin's talking about. Hello, I am here with Blaze Gainey, reporter covering the Texas Capitol for KUT, and Blaze is at the Capitol right now. What is up, Blaze?
Nothing much. The big thing we're here for today is the House has a redistricting hearing at 2 p.m. And then right before that is a protest. So
let's get into it. So speaking of redistricting, we go through redistricting every 10 years when the new census numbers come out. But now all of a sudden, Texas lawmakers are working on redrawing our congressional districts at the behest of President Donald Trump. What are Texas Republicans hoping to accomplish here, you think?
I think what President Trump said is that he believes they can get 5 more seats. I think that's a heavy ask, a large order. I think maybe they can get about 4 more seats, but technically that's not what they're here for. You know, what they're really here for is because the maps, apparently the Justice Department believes the maps are currently racially gerrymandered, and that's why they're here. So they're currently racially gerrymandered, so they have to ungerrymander the maps. That is what they're here for. But some people believe, that's not necessarily true because the state was just in court arguing that these maps were not racially gerrymandered.
Yeah.
And now all of a sudden they're like, oh, actually, we need to fix these maps because, they say they are gerrymandered. So
turns out we were wrong. They are gerrymandered.
Yeah, it was interesting. The other day they had in the Senate, they had to make the committee that's going to be doing the redistricting. And Democrats were saying like, well, when y'all passed these maps, y'all told us they were totally fine. Like, why do we need to, however many years later, come back and do the maps again? Like, are they not okay? When people were saying the maps weren't okay in court, they defended the maps. But now all of a sudden they're quickly to say, no, we need to change the maps.
Let's give me whiplash. Have you heard anything about the possible shakeup of the Austin area districts?
I haven't heard much other than like the focus on Houston. It seems like about 3 or 4 districts may change around Houston.
Wow. Okay, so a few weeks ago, it seemed like the special session was going to be all about regulating THC. But then everything changed because we had the flood on July 4th. And now lawmakers have like less than 30 days to address 18 items. What do you think the number one priority bill for lawmakers is going to be to tackle?
Well, we have wonderful lawmakers here in Texas, so just giving them one is very low ball. I would say if there has to be a one at the top, I think it's the floods, because they've been promising, essentially, very loosely promising to those people that they're going to do something even if that something is small, they have to do something, right? And then maybe,
Mm-hmm.
let them know they're going to come back next session and do more, which they've already did actually, and let them know like, hey, this won't stop just now. After these 30 days, which that's how long special session is. After that, I would say redistricting is right at the top. I think the THC is like third, but
Yeah.
I think it's also one of those things that they could technically kick the can down the road. But realistically, what I really think is going to happen is we're going to be in another special session after this one. I don't. It's no way.
No, that's right. I forget he can just keep calling special sessions.
Like you said, it's a lot of things on this list, right? 18 of
Yeah.
them, and so what is the chance that they're able to get everything done?
I think slim.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll see what happens.
After the flooding, it seems like everybody started talking about sirens and especially for flash flood alley. Have you been hearing anything or seeing anything as bills as far as like flood response systems so far? Or is it too early?
No, no, it's not too early. I think it might be too early to see the actual bill language, but I've talked with Senator Paul Betancourt, and he's a sponsor of a bill that focuses on these early warning systems, and he said that they're not just going to stop at sirens. So they're going to do sirens, of course, but they're looking, even further than that.
Oh, love to hear it. So, okay, I'm curious because you're in the thick of it literally right now as we speak. What is the general vibe at the Capitol? Are lawmakers seeming annoyed? Are they engaged? It's just like are they looking ahead for 2026 midterms? Like what's the vibe?
I think all the lawmakers here seem very ready to get to work on this flood stuff. On Wednesday, there was actually a flood related hearing where lawmakers from Senate and House met with state leaders from different agencies to talk about recommendations to make flood preparation and recovery and all that stuff better going forward. One of the top recommendations, and I think, it's not just me, I think even lawmakers would say the main concern they've had so far is communication between different agencies. So what happens
Mm,
is like, this is just a instance, but say like San Antonio goes over to help out Houston in like a fire or something.
mm-hmm.
Well, when they get over there, the San Antonio firemen aren't on the same radio signal, and their radios don't
Oh,
use the same signals as Houston's, and so it's not as easy to communicate to each other. And you would, yeah, I know
it's
it's like
like
hands up in the
basic.
air,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
yeah,
Sorry,
it
yeah. People
sounds
can't see me, but my hands are in the air. Like this is basic stuff.
it may sound basic, but the issue is, I guess, like when the state first started, they never said like, "Hey, this is the base. Like, this is what we have to have. Everybody
Yeah,
has to have this, so we can all communicate if we all need to help each other out." And so now everybody is went along piecemealing and doing whatever they could afford for their district. And now we're in a situation where we've realized, hey, this is not going to work if we want
yeah,
all however many places to be able to talk to one another. And so that's, I think, the number one concern. And apparently, I guess the cost varies on exactly how you want to fix that issue, but apparently it isn't like a super costly fix. That would probably still be, hundreds of thousands, if not even millions of dollars, because, Texas is
it's
huge. So
huge. Yeah,
it's like, yeah, it may be a small fix and it may be a small cost for like these two counties to do, but then when you want to space that around, it could end up being a little costly. But that's, like I said, that's just one of the recommendations. Others are asking for more staff. Um, there was also an ask for the state to have its own fire trucks and ambulances, because right now what happens is when an emergency happens, they have to borrow them from the neighboring
yeah,
areas, and the neighboring areas don't always have the ability to lend that out because they still have their normal daily things they need to be able to take care of as well. Getting people to loan out their staff is not a problem, but they getting them to loan out like actual equipment is the problem because they're already running low on equipment.
yeah. It's wild to me that in a state as big as ours is, that we don't already have a system like that. So I want to go back really quick to the THC ban. In the regular session, they passed a bill, everybody knows, that would ban all THC products. Abbott vetoed it, saying that it would be legally challenged. It seemed like he was pushing for regulation over a total ban. Do you think that's still the case?
He was pushing for regulation. That is what he said. He said he wanted to regulate it similar to the way that alcohol is regulated in the state. but the Senate seems very stuck on, just making sure that it's banned altogether. So the governor's most recent statement, and this is from his press person, Governor Abbott has been clear that Texas must do all we can to protect the lives of children while protecting the liberty of adults. Hemp products should be banned for those under the age of 21, with a full ban on extraordinarily dangerous synthetic products. Adults should be able to access heavily regulated, non intoxicating levels of hemp, and there should be strict legal enforcement on hemp that exceeds 3 milligrams of total THC per serving. The governor will continue working with the legislature to establish a framework that meets these goals. So it does sound more
Mm,
regulated.
yeah.
It's like I was a little confused by the adults should be able to access heavily regulated, non intoxicating levels of hemp,
Yeah.
and then coming back on the end of that and saying that, but there should be strict enforcement of hemp that exceeds 3 milligrams. What is strict enforcement other than I just have to show my ID and show I'm over
Yeah.
21?
What
Because
does
it,
that look
it
like?
almost sounds like there's going to be like, is it like a background check? Like, what does he
I
mean?
mean, I didn't want to say that, but that's kind of what I was thinking.
To me, it sounds essentially like it'd be much easier. And I don't think he's necessarily saying this, but it'd be much easier if they just had a medical cannabis program
Yeah.
outside of teacup.
And can you explain to me what teacup is? Or what teacup mean? What is that?
Yeah, so it's the Texas Compassionate Use Program. So basically, like, there's like a form of marijuana, a certain strain of marijuana called Charlotte's Web. It's very low grade and it helps kids with like epilepsy and other things like that. That's where like compassionate use programs started. And now they've been upped a little where they have like more potency, but for usually it's for like veterans who, have different issues going
Like
on.
PTSD and stuff. Yeah.
Exactly. And I say veterans, but like, yeah, anybody could have
Anybody. Yeah.
PTSD. So yeah, anybody can enroll in teacup, but there have been complaints about it, and so that's why a lot of people are upset about the THC thing because they don't want to be pushed to go to teacup, which is a more expensive. Teacup is one thing, but maybe for people that I don't know recreationally want to use it would still need to sign up. It sounds I don't know. It sounds
Muddy.
more complex. Yeah, it sounds more complex than it needs to be, but we'll see what happens. It'll be interesting for sure because right now the Senate is pushing in the way of a ban on THC altogether, and that would just totally. I don't know. It seems like it would get vetoed because that's not what he's asking for. So
Yeah, that's not what he wants. So I'm really interested in, you mentioned earlier that there was a protest happening. Are you seeing just a lot of activity in the Capitol, outside of the Capitol in general? Like, I imagine that there are all kinds of people just kind of like at the Capitol waiting for news or waiting to speak. Is it in generally outside of like reporters and stuff pretty crowded and active?
no, it's pretty quiet actually. It's pretty
Really?
quiet. Yeah, yeah. I mean, with the flood hearing on Wednesday was pretty active. Like I
Yeah.
think, and they're gonna have one in Kerrville. I think that one will be very active as well. But it's not like in regular session. I feel like everybody knew that was coming, and this one I think it snuck up on people that don't pay attention as much. But my guess is like as time goes on and people start realizing like this is happening right now, then we'll see more numbers. I think like it'll take some big names, I think, to get people out. But once people hear about it, I think we'll start seeing more action.
And so, okay, there's talk about the House Dems leaving the state to block the vote, like we saw in 2021. Have you been hearing that? Is this really on the table?
Democratic Minority Party leader, Representative Gene Wu, said that every option is on the table. So, I mean,
Well, there
that
you
kind of
go.
answers your
There
question
you go.
there.
Yeah, it
But
does.
then,
Yeah.
but then I spoke to another Democrat who said that he doesn't think they're going to walk out. He didn't think that there was enough like unified Democrats. I think they would need about 40 or
Oh,
so
wow. Okay.
to agree to walk out. So it'll be interesting to see if they were to all agree to do that.
I'm curious, are there any cons to that move?
Yeah, definitely. From a viewpoint from the public, if they were to walk out and force session to come to an end before the flood bills pass, it'll look like they don't care about
Yep.
the flood victims. Actually, one Republican was quoted saying like that is a idea that they've had, like to wait to till after they're done with redistricting to then pass the flood stuff so that it
They
kind of
keep,
forces them, yeah, to keep them here. And honestly, I mean, I think if flood stuff had not come up at all, I think then we would have
yeah,
likely seen Democrats put up more of a fight. But I mean, they're all here, and I mean, I'm pretty sure they'll be proposing bills and stuff just like it's a normal session. But it'll be interesting still to see what happens when redistricting comes up on the floor. They'll have to make a tough choice if it shares the calendar with a flood bill and they choose to walk out, it could be viewed and the
yeah,
story will be painted by some as though they walked out on the flood
yeah.
victims.
Like they don't care. That's a tough spot. I'm curious, beyond the hot button items that we've been talking about, what else are you personally keeping an eye on? Like star testing, abortion, pills. Is there anything like quietly gaining traction that we don't really know about?
Well, I'll say that the taxpayer funded lobbying, I think, already passed out of a Senate committee on Wednesday, I think. But from the list of things, like that's a big one, but it's been talked about for a while. I think one that was interesting was this one that protects law enforcement officers from public disclosure of unsubstantiated complaints and personnel files. So
What?
that one to me could be big because what is an unsubstantiated claim
Yes.
and who's determining if it's unsubstantiated? Because if I say like Officer Z is racist and that's one of the complaints that's been made, but now there's like, they're like, oh, it's unsubstantiated because they couldn't prove it, but then like he gets in trouble for doing something that was like racist,
Yeah.
would that, and they're like, oh, well, no complaints have ever been made about him before,
Exactly. Yes. Yeah.
so it would hold less ground if he ever does
Oh,
get caught with something like that. But that's just an example. But the questions that should be asked is like, what does unsubstantiated means, and who's going to be determining that?
that's too much left up to interpretation. It just depends on who it is on what given day. That's
Yeah,
dangerous.
and I gotta shout out. It was one of my Twitter followers or somebody on X that had brought that to my attention because I was posting about like all the stuff on there, redistricting, et cetera, et cetera. And then they were like, "Oh, there's also this one too." And I was like, "Ooh, I didn't even like it didn't catch my eye." And
Yeah.
like once you really read it and look at it, it's like, okay, this could be controversial. But honestly, a lot of the bills on here are likely to be very controversial. Even the star test thing, which seems like a no brainer and probably easy. A lot of people agree with eliminating the star test. But what do you replace it with? That
Exactly.
could be controversial.
What do you replace it with to make sure we're on par and we're educating our kids? This is the thing that scares me about these sessions is that if you're not paying attention, some really crazy shit can just like kind of slide through. That police thing is kind of wild. I mean,
It
that's
is. And yeah, I don't know where it came from. Like a lot of these were bills, like the THC thing, that was a bill that died. And he's like, hey, we need to come back to special session. But I don't think this one was necessarily from a bill that died. Like it was just like, here's another idea I have.
so in these special sessions, they could just put out new stuff too. Oh my
Yeah,
God.
I mean, think about it. The flood stuff is all new stuff, right? That wasn't
Right,
like,
right. I just thought they were doing it because it was an emergency.
no, and in fact, they were already calling a special session and then the flood happened.
Right.
But if just the flood had happened, some people don't think they would have done a special session. They may have done like a committee, like a special committee to come in and talk, but it helps the view or the
You're
perception to have a flood there and say, oh, we're coming back for the flood. But while we're here, let's also do these things.
Man, you are blowing my mind. I genuinely thought that the flood stuff was only added because it was an emergency. I did not know that you could just add random stuff on this as special session.
Yeah, I mean, if he wanted to, he could send them back to do like I mean, to some very ridiculous things like, oh yeah, let's rename this road. I mean, I think a lot of people would be upset. A lot of like,
Yeah,
but I'm just saying he could do that. He probably wouldn't, but
right.
it could be something like that small.
So, is there anything else that you think listeners need to be keeping their eye on during this special session?
I think the redistricting thing is the biggest thing that people should be paying
Yeah,
attention to. Even while THC is a big issue, and like I understand why it is a big issue. Like redistricting will actually change way like it'll impact the entire nation. So
yeah.
like yes, Texans should be paying attention, definitely Texans in the areas that looking at changing the lines at, but really the whole nation should be paying attention to what's going on because whatever happens here in Texas could determine how the midterms go, and it can determine how much President Trump is able to get done in the latter half of his term.
Oh my
But I
God.
read somewhere that like one of the reasons they want to do this redistricting thing isn't only to help Trump out in midterms or like to have more Republicans in office or red seats, but it also is a worry about a threat of impeachment. If the Democrats get control of U.S. House, then they could look to impeach Trump. And,
Yeah.
obviously that hurts like the view of him. Obviously the Senate, if they wouldn't push it through, but it's just the fact that it would happen would look bad, and to stay away from that, they could just easily change the lines, and then Democrats won't have a chance to have a majority in the House, and then therefore won't be able to start an impeachment trial on the president.
Oh my God, this is so stressful. It's so
It
stressful.
is.
Well, Blaze, get back to work. I'm gonna let you go back to what you were doing. Thank you for being here. Thank you for taking the time. I know you're busy, but like, listen, I just wait to talk to you to know what's going on. I know that's lazy, but you have a way of explaining it that is easy to understand. Blaze, I appreciate you so
I
much.
mean, that's what I'm here for. That's what I'm here for. So that's good.
That's all for today here on CityCast Austin. You can find links to Blaze's work in our show notes. If you enjoyed the show, why not tell a friend, rate the show, leave us a review, and subscribe to our Hey Austin newsletter. We'll be back tomorrow morning with more news from around the city. Bye, y'all.